Hi, my name is Ms. Taylor, and this video is going to take you through the syllabus for digital electronics. In the center of the syllabus, you will see my name and my email address. Make sure you know my email address. It is Taylor R with no number. There is another Rebecca Taylor who works for Duval County, and you want to make sure that your emails come to me and not going to her. This is the first year that we're offering digital electronics. I did the training over the summer, and I had fun with it. It was intense. It was about 10 or 11 hours of work every day for 2 weeks. But I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to teaching this class. It's very much what my degree in electrical engineering is on. For this class, you will need an engineering notebook. It doesn't have the same focus as in earlier engineering classes in terms of documenting a design process, but you will need a notebook dedicated for this class. You'll also need a calculator at least some of the time for this class. And if you have a graphing calculator that does different number bases for at least some of the lessons, that will come in handy because we will be working quite a bit in binary numbers and then a little bit in hexadecimal numbers as well. You will need a pencil and you will need a school issued laptop. You want to make sure you have your laptop with you. We do have the engineering laptops, but there is software and you're going to be doing quite a bit of designing in multi-sim, and you want to be able to do those designs at home as well as here at school. For class expectations, be present, be on time, bring your supplies, make sure your laptop is charged, at least as far as I can tell at the time of this recording. This class is meeting 8th period. Actually, at the moment that I'm recording this, I have 2 8th period classes, one for digital electronics and one for algebra 2, but that isn't going to stay that way. So I think we're meeting 8th period. If not, then that'll be easier, but make sure you're watching the charge on your laptop throughout the day and that you do have enough charge to get through class. Be responsible with classroom supplies. Cell phones are not to be out or in your lap unless we are using them specifically for something for this class, which probably won't happen unless we're doing like building circuits and stuff, and I want you to document the circuit itself with a photograph. I'll cover details on the cell phone policy in class. Be respectful of all class members and comply with all school rules. Pay mind to the dress code, especially to hats and hoods. Those are the kinds of things that teachers get nailed for all the time. Tardies, late and hall passes, and so forth. Grading in this class is done on a total point system, so grades can include homework activities, classwork, assessments, anything that you do that you turn in is eligible for a grade. And we take the total number of points you earned and divide it by the total number of points you could have earned. Late work is accepted for a late penalty, but you must fill in a late work form for every late assignment that you are turning in, including ones that you might get full credit for because you were absent or you have extended time. The number of accepted late assignments will be adjusted every quarter, and I'll make sure that I announce that. For extra help, and you might need some extra help in this class, this will be a challenging elective. Tutoring sessions are usually scheduled after school between 2:10 and 3. I will announce a specific day. I do coach Marathon High for the school, and Marathon High runs from about early October to mid-February is when our season is, and that will restrict when I'm available after school, but I will make sure that we have a date that can work. Other times may be available by appointment. Feel free to email me or set up a time before or after school, and just come with specific assignments on which to work and a specific goal. Remember, we're only going to meet for 50 minutes, and I can't teach you a whole week's worth of work and material in 50 minutes, and I can't help you catch up from like a whole unit or a whole quarter in 50 minutes. So you want to make sure like you know exactly what assignment you want to work on or you want to get finished in that 50 minutes, and that it's reasonable to do in 50 minutes, and that you know exactly what questions, what concepts you're having trouble on. Do not come in and say, well, I'm totally lost, I don't know anything, I need you to teach me everything, because I can't do that in 50 minutes. Above that, you'll see the Teams icon there. Assignments and makeup work will be posted regularly on Teams, and you are expected to check Teams whenever you are absent. So we're coming off of a year where we've had DHR sections. We don't have that this year, but we did have like a lot of quarantines. So even if you were face-to-face last year, you know that like having a digital backup for pretty much everything was kind of how things ran. And at the time that I'm recording this, I don't know how this year is going to look. So regardless of the reason why you're absent, if you are absent, you are responsible for checking Teams to see what work you have missed. I should not be hearing, I was absent on Wednesday. What did I miss? go check Teams. Okay, I'm going to work very hard to make sure that that is up to date with all the assignments that you need. Teams is also your main avenue for posting questions and arranging for extra help. We will be using Teams actively in class. You are strongly encouraged to download the Teams app onto your phone or tablet so that you can access materials easily and contact me effectively. Above that, you'll notice Outlook. Learning to check and maintain email is an important skill for school and for work. Your college professors and your bosses, a lot of them, their main way of getting a hold of you is going to be through email. And so you really need to develop a habit of checking your email regularly. You are expected to check your school email at least 3 times a week. Okay, you need to check it, find out what has come from me and from your other teachers or from the school, and clean that out. Be sure to use your school email, username, and password for any school-related apps or websites. So whether it's signing up for like GoFormative or Remind, if it's a school-related account that you're setting up for a class, make sure that you're using your school email, school username, school password. Don't tie those things to your personal email accounts, because then you can forget which email address and password you use. Like school stuff, keep it in the school system. And then focus. The grade portal will be updated at least weekly. And those of you that have had me before know I don't really procrastinate with grading because I hate it. And so I try to get it done as soon as possible. So be proactive in checking your grades and stay up to date. Don't tell me, 5 or 6 weeks after an assignment was due, there's a mistake in the grade book. You're actually going to fill out a form for that. It's going to be on the late work form. Anything that's not up to date and focus. But if you wait a really, really long time to send that in, you're not going to remember what the issue was, and neither will I. It'll just be a really, really old assignment. So you want to be on top of that right away. Many assignments will be submitted via Focus, and many handouts will have extra copies available there. So make sure that you're making a habit of checking Focus, checking your school email, and checking Teams. Those are like the 3 places where you'll find your stuff for me. Second page here is the engineering equipment contract. And unfortunately, this is necessary because of some things that happened last year. So participation in the engineering program at Atlantic Coast involves handling expensive and potentially dangerous classroom supplies. These supplies include, but are not limited to, engineering laptop computers. So you probably know, if you've done an engineering class, if this isn't your first one, that we do have a set of laptops designated for engineering. All of the engineering classes, and this year we're running 3 of them, will be using these laptops. Soldering irons and other heating elements, that would be this class. So there's like some soldering that has to go on in this class, and soldering irons can be very dangerous. They do get very, very hot, and they're not toys to play around with. Electronic components such as DMMs and oscilloscopes. I believe some of you did some like breadboarding and circuit work for POE, and we do a lot more of that for digital electronics. We're going to do a lot of breadboarding. Robotics equipment and supplies, that's mostly POE. Precise measuring devices such as calipers, mostly IED, drills, screwdrivers, and other tools. We might use a little bit of that here, but mostly the drills and the screwdrivers and stuff was IED. And for those of you that took POE last year, like at the end of the year, we had like drills like set up in here for the building of the automatas. And of course, we have the 3D printer. We won't be doing a whole lot of 3D printing with this class, but we might. It is imperative that each student treat all lab materials and supplies with respect, even if those supplies are basic, like rulers and glue. So even if they're just kind of ordinary things, if we're using them in a lab setting, they are to be treated like lab supplies. I know in IED, we actually have toys that are used for function analysis, which is a little bit different than IED a couple of years ago, but we take apart the toys and look at how they're built. And so even if they are legitimately toys, they are not to be treated like toys in this class. All safety guidelines must be adhered to at all times. So if you are working with a soldering iron and I say, whoa, like your hair needs to be tied back before you use a soldering iron, you have to adhere to all of the safety guidelines. Misuse of any equipment or supplies will not be tolerated. It has to be a 0 tolerance policy on the handling of any of the equipment. Some of the equipment is really, really expensive, like tens of thousands of dollars of stuff for high school classes. A first infraction will result in immediate suspension from the current activity and a parent contact. So if you're doing something that I think is dangerous or hazardous, first time, like you're not finishing that activity, and I'm going to contact your parents right away, like that day. Any further infractions will result in a loss of activity privileges and possible removal from the engineering program, because this is just not something that we can tolerate in our program. So you have to treat all of the supplies with respect. There's a student statement there. It says, I agree to follow the all rules and treat all equipment with respect, and I understand the consequences for failing to do so. And then you'll print your name clearly, sign your name, and then we want a parent signature on that as well to confirm that your parents understand that, if they get a phone call or something, that, something's not going right in class. Hopefully that is a non-issue, and that everybody does listen to the directions when directions are being given and then adhere to those, because we really, really, really don't want any kinds of accidents, and we definitely don't want to lose lots of money worth of materials. So hopefully this video clears up any questions that you might have. My email address was on that first slide, so you can back up the video and take a look at that. If you have other questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer them, and I really look forward to teaching this class. I hope that we all have a lot of fun this year.